Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. If you're wading through the process of preparing your tax return, you might be asking, why does this have to be so complicated? I hear some version of this from clients all the time, every year. The form feels endless. The rules seem very arbitrary. Even financially savvy people find themselves second guessing what qualifies, what doesn't, what's changed this year. It's hard to grasp the scope of what we're dealing with. The U.S. tax code plus the policy rules, interpretations, and case law necessarily to fully understand it was estimated at over 70,000 pages more than a decade ago. That's equivalent to roughly 50 copies of Tolstoy's famously long novel War and Peace. And it doesn't include the recent additions, like the hundreds of pages of new provisions in the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. Reading the tax code would literally take years. Understanding it would take longer. To understand the source of this complexity, imagine a 3-bedroom, 1-story house built in 1913. The year that the ratification of the 16th Amendment authorized a federal income tax. It has no electricity or plumbing. It's heated by a wood stove. Over the years, various owners make large and small changes. Plumbing and electricity, central heating, additions, a porch, a utility room, another bedroom, a second story, enlarging the bathroom, a garage, another bathroom, closets, a sunroom, a detached office connected by a breezeway. Individually, each change makes sense. It solves a real problem or meets a real need at the time. But over time, the foundation carries more weight. Old wiring and plumbing are updated and added to. Ductwork extends through tighter spaces. Floors no longer quite match. Old windows leak air. Utility bills and maintenance costs keep going up. That's our tax code. Congress didn't design a 70,000-page system in one setting. Complexity built it up over the decades. A credit for one industry here, a deduction for a social goal, a carve-out to address a crisis, a temporary provision that became permanent. While each addition made sense in isolation, the overall result is inefficiency. The final cost is significant. According to a Tax Foundation report from August 2025, Americans spend an estimated 7.1 billion hours each year complying with the tax code. The lost productivity alone approaches $388 billion annually, with an additional out-of-pocket costs of about $150 billion. That's over $500 billion. And when you combine all that, it's roughly 1.8% of the U.S. gross domestic product. We are spending more to navigate the system than some taxes actually raise. Astounding. Arguments about regressive taxation aside, it's easy to see why alternatives like a national value-added tax or higher tariffs occasionally gain some traction. Whether one agrees with those approaches or not, they would reduce the time and expense required to comply with the current income tax system. Think of $500 billion savings. None would recover all of the lost productivity, but they would eliminate much of the annual ritual of form filling and rule interpretation. Of course, replacing the income tax entirely is highly unlikely. The political hurdles would be enormous, given that Congress struggles to pass a routine budget on time or enact something as widely supported as permanent daylight savings time, rebuilding the entire tax code from the ground up may be next to impossible. When you remodel a house, you may disappoint or please various family members by making changes. And when you rewrite the tax code, you affect industries, donors, and voting blocks. Every deduction benefits someone. Every credit has a constituency. Every loophole has a lobbyist. So we keep adding rooms and tweaking old wiring. The tax system should raise revenue efficiently, transparently, and fairly. When it requires billions of hours simply to comply, it may be time to ask whether we have built something too complicated for its own good. Thanks for listening.